Now tell me that's not something that fish would hide in. Well, what's up guys? It's Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and guess what? The pond is dry again. Like, okay, yes, I admit there's still some water down there in the holes and stuff, but for the most part, all of our working area is dry. Like, to the point I'm wearing tennis shoes and not knee-high muck boots. The ground is not even muddy. And it's only been a couple days. Like, it's not like it's been a week since we got that big rain and caused such a mess. But a lot of work has been done in the last couple days. A lot of progress has been made. I just don't know how visible it is to you guys. So just for reference purposes, I kind of want to let you guys kind of see everything and see bits and pieces as things develop. But they spent most of the afternoon yesterday and the early part of today redoing a lot of this area. They dug out a lot of muck down there. They can't quite get to the bottom yet, but starting to work at the base of the dam and start building it up little by little and moving soil around to get it to dry out has been a huge success, I would say. When I left you guys in the last update at the pond, they were working on that side, getting things he was taking the top layer and pushing it up out of the way and started moving some of the good clay over on the dam and doing some of that. And they made it over here yesterday evening before dark, actually maybe after dark. They worked pretty late yesterday evening. And then today, this little area right here, I don't know if you guys can really tell, but there's a steep slope right here. We're making like a peninsula. So the water line, before they started moving the dirt, the water line was going to hit about on this, at the base of this little tree right here. And I told them I wanted to make like let me zoom out here, make a peninsula that went out into the pond. Well, first off, that tree would survive. It wouldn't die having water at the base of it, because it won't have water there. But we're going to build this up so that the water goes all the way around this little piece of land. I might be able to get you a better view from over here. Let me zoom out all the way. Okay, so pond dam goes around that way. The water will come up into this little cove area, and then this peninsula will stick out, and then we'll have water come up in over here. So this will kind of protrude out into the pond, and I just think it'd be really cool. A good little spot for a bench, good place to put a fish feeder, and just things to break up the outline of the pond. Because one thing I've been adamant about since the beginning, since the planning stages of this pond, is I don't want a big empty bowl. I don't want a big round circle with nothing in it. So as much as we can, we're going to break up the perimeter of the pond into different shapes. So putting a peninsula out here and having two coves on either side, it's basically going to, in a sense, maximize the total linear feet of distance around the pond. And it just gives, fish love to be near the shore. Bass love to spawn up in shallow water. Bluegill spawn up in shallow water. And so we're going to make some flats as it comes off and then drops off into a shelf. So we're places where we can put piles of rubble and concrete and debris, logs, and fish structure. Which, speaking of fish structure, I'm waiting on a guy to get here. I found a guy that lives a few hours away that builds some really cool artificial man-made fish structures, fish habitat. They're basically exactly the same thing that the Oklahoma Wildlife Department puts in our lakes. Our lake, where you guys have seen us fish a ton of different times, Arbuckle Lake, I just saw, I don't know, maybe a month ago, the Wildlife Department put trailer loads of these exact fish structures in there. And I purchased 5 of them from this fella that builds them and sells them. And I mean, they're great. I think they're going to work awesome. So I'm excited to see them. He's supposed to be here at 3:30 today, and it is 3:46. So should be here anytime, hopefully. So really, it just blows my mind at how fast they're able to get this material to dry out. I mean, it's easily workable today. Yesterday was still pretty sloppy, but they've pumped as much water out of the basin of the pond as they can for now. We're kind of letting it fill back in. As you pump it out and it just seeps back up, and then we'll continue to pump it out. And hopefully in the next couple days, we'll get things dry enough where we can get down in the bottom of the pond with our big excavator and really clean that out. But as you can see, they're getting started on the actual dam. They're doing a really good job of making sure they've got the right material, make sure they've got it dried out well enough, and really packing this clay in here. And I think it'll just be perfect. I don't think this dam will leak. I mean, we can't know until it's done, obviously, but I don't know why it would leak. But it's going to be a slow process. We're trying to do it right. We could have just pushed up a mountain of dirt on top of the old existing dam, but they didn't feel like that was the best route to, I don't know, have the best possible chance of a dam not leaking. So basically everything that was the dam has been flipped over and pushed to the back, and we're starting to build it back up. And it's going to be a lot bigger dam than it was before, I can promise you that. So I think it'll be great, and making some progress. Found a few rocks. What he's doing right now is digging through this little vein of rock, trying to get back down to good clay or soil or something, and moving the rocks out of the way, because he's basically trying to start digging up more clay material for the dam, and we don't want a bunch of rocks in the dam. So that's you can see right there, that's what he's working to separate. And I just got a phone call that our fish structures have arrived, our habitat structures. I don't know the first thing about these things other than just what I've seen through the Oklahoma Wildlife Department. And if they're putting them in all of our lakes, I'm not going to say all, and they're putting them in a lot of the lakes that the Wildlife Department helps manage. And there's a lot of research been done on them, obviously. It's not just throwing trash out there, but they're made out of PVC pipe and like some drainage pipe, like what we used to put in the bottom of our self-wicking tubs. It's like what goes in the bottom of a French drain. Perforated pipe, and a lot of other materials. So let's go see them. Kelsey, are you as excited as I am? I'm just plumb tickled to death about this stuff. Now tell me that's not something that fish would hide in. All right, well there's 3. He could only haul 3 on his trailer, so I've got 2 more coming. Kelsey, where are you going? He's gonna bring me 2 more tomorrow. And like I said, these things are, well, I know the Oklahoma Wildlife Department uses them, and he actually told me several states, Georgia, and I think maybe Tennessee, I'm not sure where all he said, but there's a lot of engineering that's gone into creating these little habitat structures for fish. But like I said, it's basically just like a drain pipe. It wouldn't be a super difficult project to build a bunch of these, but for what he had them priced at and what it would cost to get all the materials and the time, and he puts this, starts off at the base, he puts the mesh down here at the bottom. That once you set these on the bottom of your pond, then the silt comes in and kind of just holds them in place. But all the PVC pipe is all glued together and filled with sand so that it has weight. And then the bottom pipes on here, this one doesn't have them, but the bottom pipes on all of them are filled with rocks or bricks or something for extra weight. And yeah, I'm not going to be sinking them, but in theory he told me that you can take them out on the deck of your boat and just push them off in the water. And since they're weighted at the bottom, the sand stops somewhere in this general area. You can just push them off the edge and they'll sink to the bottom. And then obviously silt fills in, and that's what the mesh kind of anchors it with. And that's it. We're going to put them in probably, I don't know, they're 5 feet tall, so we'll put them in probably 8 to 10 feet of water, and it'll be perfect habitat structure for bluegill and minnows and bait fish and all kinds of stuff. And there's just all kinds of nooks and crannies that algae and things can build up on. You know, if this was smooth pipe like PVC, it would be harder for algae to build up on here, which is what feeds your microorganisms, and then the microorganisms are what feed the little minnows and, you know, food chain things. But he drills holes all in them so that your bait fish can go up inside there. Obviously they can go in the ends. Just pretty neat little thing. So he's bringing 2 more tomorrow. It's like almost a 3-hour drive from where he lives, where he builds these things. And man, I really appreciate him bringing them down here and delivering them. I mean, these will get put to good use, I'm sure. You are a mess. You're everywhere and nowhere at the same time, all over the place. I guess these guys are going to work until it just gets flat dark today. So when I left earlier, he had the excavator over here kind of digging up those rocks and pulling up some fresh clay to push and stuff. And now he's on the dozer pushing it all to the dam. Other guy's on the skid steer cleaning up some piles of debris, piles of dirt, some of the stuff that I cleaned out of the pond, some of the stuff that they pushed up. Anyways, just moving material to the back side of the dam. Oh, okay, so here's what I was talking about earlier. They found this little vein of rocks that came through here, so there's a few there, and they dug down. Look, obviously got it all out of the way here, piled some of the rocks up over there. We'll figure all that mess out later, but they don't want to push this material that's got big, you know, basketball and larger size boulders in it and push it up onto the dam. That's not what we want there. So he was just kind of working through some of that, and now he's just continuing to go back and forth, pushing up more and more dirt. I don't know if I told you guys this or not, but Steve, the guy that's on that skid steer right there, is very familiar with outdoor television. Steve has a son who used to have a television show. Steve produced it, filmed it, and did all that. It was called On the Water and In the Woods with Cody and Cody. So Cody was his son, or is his son still, and I think just a friend that was also named Cody. But they were on Sportsman's Channel, Pursuit Channel, don't quote me on it. He told us the other day they did over 500 episodes across about 10 years. It's called On the Water and In the Woods with Cody and Cody. It was very popular back when I was in college. It was kind of like a dream of mine. And I thought TV was the route. I thought TV was the way to go. And I really didn't know how to break through that. Did a lot of stuff with Final Descent. Still do some stuff with Final Descent Outdoors, which is a hunting television show that's been on the Pursuit Channel 13 years. This year they just went online. It's all streaming now. But anyways, On the Water and In the Woods with Cody and Cody. It was a hunting show, fishing show all around, started off all around Oklahoma, and then they moved all over the country and other countries and did all kinds of cool stuff. But that's Cody's dad on there, so he knows a little bit about television production and outdoor television stuff. So it's been cool getting to pick his brain a little bit when he stops on that machine. He's kind of like Kelsey, just like this all day, every day. Multitasking. He's on the phone. Talking on the phone while operating a dozer. Is that legal, sir? Looks like he's doing a fine job of it to me. So I think you're starting to see kind of some of our idea in what they're doing, at least on this side of the pond. I told them to leave these stumps. We're going to leave them. They'll basically be like a big ledge all the way around it in a big stump, and we can pile rocks and all kinds of structure around that. There's another big clump there, but this kind of gives you an idea of how much clay and soil they've removed in this little swath, because that stump or set of stumps right there, from here to there, elevation wise, is probably 4 to 5 feet. I know it may not seem like it on video, but once they remove what all they need to remove, there'll be just like a big island. It won't stick up out of the water, and then we can, you know, make all kinds of habitat around that. And this is all going to get cleaned up, and we're not going to leave just piles of dirt everywhere, though we may leave some just for different habitat types. But anyways, I think I'm going to leave it with them for the evening. It's about to get dark, and I'm running out of camera light. They'll flip on their lights on the machines and work until they get tired, I guess, and go home, and we'll be back at it again in the morning. All right, bright and early next morning, let's go get some concrete, some structure for the pond. So I posted in a video, I don't know, however many videos ago, day or two, 3 or 4 or 5 or 7 ago, talking about I was going to try to find a bunch of concrete rubble and debris and cinder blocks and all that stuff, probably mostly from the tornado debris that after the tornado hit our hometown back in the spring. And had a local guy that I know really well text me and was like, hey, we just moved a house out just a few miles from you, about 12 miles from your house, and there's all kinds of foundation concrete that I'm hauling off, busting up and hauling off, and it's been too muddy to haul it to where we've been taking it. So if you bring your trailer, I'll load it for you. So that's where we're headed this morning. And then I also got another message on Facebook where a house was blown away by the tornado in our local town. They've still got a huge pile of concrete debris and cinder blocks and stuff, but I'll have to take the skid steer and go load that stuff myself. But I won't get that done today. That's probably a next week project. So Earl and I are off on an adventure this morning. Ain't that right, buddy? You haven't been getting to hang out with me on video much lately because Kelsey and Gemma have been getting all the attention, huh? Yep. And guess what? I got snacks. Don't eat all my jerky now, okay? This is the exact free stuff that I've been looking for. There was an old house here, probably a 100-year-old home. Man, he needs a muffler on that. That thing is loud. Anyways, there was a probably 100-year-old home sitting here, and all the driveway and all that. They actually moved the house to a different location. They're remodeling it, but all this concrete slab that he's picking up, most of that does not have any rebar sticking out of it. Some of this over here has some rebar, and they did not spare any expense when that's like 5/8 rebar in this concrete. But they've kind of got it all separated out, and what he's getting is pretty good, clean stuff that will make amazing fish structure in a pond. All all just random different sizes and things. You can see how it's stacked in there right now. Makes all kinds of small, you know, holes and crevices and places for bait fish and things to get. That stuff will be perfect. So now the next natural question is, where do I put all of this until I can use it? Because I cannot get this dump trailer down to the pond right now. The closest I can get is 300 yards away, probably something like that. Now I could take it and put it up here in this field. You know, I've got a road that goes straight down to the pond right here, and it's just a straight shot. It's not even 300 yards, maybe 200 yards down to the pond. Put it over here kind of tucked out of the way. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I think that's where my wife would want me to put it. I think I'll put it right here. I've got a nice big area I can dump several loads of concrete in. It's convenient, easy access, perfect spot. Except it's right next to the driveway where every time she has to go to the house, she's going to see it. So hopefully this concrete doesn't sit here very long. I mean, I'm just joking, kind of, but I am going to dump it right here. It's an easy spot to clean up, easy access with the skid steer. And I'll just have to move it down there one bucket at a time because it's going to be at least a week before I can start adding this stuff to the pond. I would love to just drive down next to the edge of the pond and dump it somewhere. But you guys understand where the pond's at. It's not easily accessible, and they've pushed so much dirt up and around both ways that I can go into the pond and get there, that I can't get this in to where I can dump it and be able to turn around and do everything I need to do. So there's the perfect spot right there. Yeah, I know I'm an idiot. I didn't check to make sure it all came out. It's all out, but just a few pieces, and I can kick those out. But I'm gonna go back and get another load and do it again. But hey, that right there looks nasty. All right, there would be some mega bass living under, in, and around all that, no doubt. All right, back for load number 2. Only difference is I don't have an operator here. He left the keys in the skid steer and said, go ahead and load it yourself. So I don't know if I can get 3 loads today. I don't have a lot of time this morning, but I'm going to work on number 2 real quick. But I really want to kind of pick through and get some of these big chunks, because I think that's you know, what we really need. Obviously, there's not a lot of little small stuff in here, but those big slabs are what I want. And I still have a buddy that's got a whole pile of, you know, concrete slabs that have been cut that was brand new from a shop floor that had to be redone. So we'll have that too, but let's see what we can do. Drop the line. Well, didn't get it on video, but I got 2 more fish structures delivered. So that's 5 of those things. We're starting to stack up some structure now. Don't open doors first. Hey, I'm back. Did you miss me? No, I wasn't gone for you guys, but it's actually 4 o'clock in the evening. I got a couple loads of concrete moved this morning, and then had other things I had to do throughout the day, and been trying to get back over here ever since. And I actually have not seen the pond since they got started this morning, so I have no idea what kind of progress has been made over there today. So we're gonna find out together. How about that? Bumpy road. Well, I don't know that it's going to look a whole lot different to you guys on video. I don't know. It's just hard for me to say because I can see so much. I can see a huge difference But you guys are only seeing such a small piece that I don't know that the progress, you know, day to day is easily seen for you guys. But it looks like they're already gone for the day. I don't see anybody around. They had some vehicle problems. I had to find them a mechanic to get an alternator fixed on a pickup, so I'm sure they had to go take care of that before the mechanic shop closed. But they're still moving dirt towards the dam. He's actually started over on the other side. Looks like he's digging up some clay. I'll walk out and show you the trench in a minute where they're trying to get it packed back in there. But there's still a lot of dirt to move. But one thing that I can see, and I don't know that you guys can really even tell, but I had a ton, well, several tons, lots of tons of dirt that I had pulled up out of that ditch and stuff. Big mountains of dirt. They cleaned up all of that, moved it over to the back side of the dam, and have cut this whole area down at least a foot, some areas 2 feet today. That whole area there where you can see those trees are still remaining, they've taken it down a lot right there. A lot of work spread out over a big area, I will say that. And there was a huge mound of dirt here. It's all gone. They've just been hauling it out one scoop at a time with the skid steer while the other guy works on the bulldozer or the excavator, and kind of taking turns, I guess. But there's still some big piles that need to be hauled off. There's some water seeping in here. Just what's a little bit left from the rain the other night. But I'll take you back to the back in a minute. They're working on a project back there. We're trying to get prepared for those big rains. So one thing that's pretty obvious about this pond is it catches a lot of runoff water really fast, which is going to in turn mean it pulls in a lot of silt. And that's something we want to avoid. We want to try to get as little silt in the pond as possible. So in the back there, what I'm having them do, and they come up with the idea, and I just okayed it, but we're building a big silt catch back there in the main drainage where most of the runoff water comes in. And I can tell they were able to get in there and pull out a lot of silt recently, and you know, just since it's been drying up a little bit, that's a fresh mound of silt that's been pulled out of the bottom of the pond. But they're still kind of working all this so that they can get down in there and continue that process. Kelsey, I wish you wouldn't get out there and get in the mud. So back on this trench that we cut in the dam, this is why they're digging up and trying to find the best clay. So I'm sure that's probably what they were doing there. And I showed you guys over a couple days, they moved rocks and stuff, but found the best clay they could so they could pack back in here. And it's a slow process because a lot of this is existing dam. We know it holds water just fine. This will be a weak point. So this trench that we cut needs to be packed in here really well. So over several days, they add some clay and then run over it with the excavator, bulldozer, all that stuff, and take their excavator bucket and just smash and beat that clay down in there as tight as possible, and then track over it, and then they let it sit and do it again the next day. And I don't think this is going to leak. Just from what they've got right now, from here to the front of the dam, you're talking 30-40 feet of clay just down here. Obviously that's still going to get smaller as it goes up, and then they've still got quite a bit of trench to fill. Now I don't think this back here is going to be near as important as obviously what's up front. So we're making progress, we're getting there. Okay, so I walked back to the back of the pond where I told you they've been working on digging out a big silt catch basin basically, and it's going, I guess. They ended up hitting a lot of sand back here, which is really kind of understandable because this is where everything from all the drainage from, you know, however far the water runs to get here, this is where it kind of stops before it made it into the pond, and they definitely hit some sand. This is not clay. This has got a lot of sand in it, and they're working on digging this out. So think of it like a catch basin, I guess, that once we get it cleaned out, it's going to be a lot deeper than this, but they're going to basically go from probably where they're at right there all the way across here. Water line will be way up here. So it's going to be, normal depth of the pond will be 7 or 8 feet deep back here, but they're going to build this big catch basin where all that drainage comes in. And then basically back here where these big mountains of dirt are, they don't look that big on camera probably, but there's it's probably 15 feet tall that they've dug out of this area. And as you can see, it's holding water back here. It's just groundwater seeping in. It's not necessarily a spring, but we're going to move all this out of the way and make kind of an underwater dam. So the theory is, and the hope and the plan is, if we go through one of those droughts where the pond level drops, say it drops 4 feet during a 3 or 4 month long drought, in theory, the water will go below that dam on this catch basin area, and it's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to slowly go, so the fish will all go out towards the main body of water. But as that water level drops, then I can come in here in some of these areas with my excavator or my skid steer and start scooping out some of the silt as it builds up. And it's not something that's going to be done, once every 30 years, but once every 5 years or once every 10 years or something. I can make sure the water level in the pond comes down if we have to drain it a little bit or whatever. But I can draw the pond level down and then let this dry up a little bit and clean the silt out as it washes in, because that's always going to be a problem with a pond. And even if I don't clean it out, having a catch basin that will hold 20 or 30 years worth of silt before it makes it into the main pond will tremendously extend the I don't want to say extend the life of the pond, but extend the good years for fish in a pond. Fisheries only have they only have a certain number of years that they're going to be really good, great producing fisheries, ponds, because they do silt in and water quality issues and all the things they catch over the years. I mean, you got to figure, if my neighbors upstream from me spray, there's 600 or 700 acres where they run cattle on in that direction. We don't catch drainage from all of it, but we catch drainage from a big portion. If they come in and spray their pasture with chemicals to kill the weeds or whatever it is, or fertilizer, when it rains, all of the excess is going to make it down into here and into the pond eventually. And I'm not down in my neighbors for spraying herbicides to get rid of broadleafs in their cattle pastures. I'm just saying, over the years, I feel like that's going to accumulate and build up. The runoff from fertilizer, the excess waste from the fertilizer that doesn't get absorbed into the soil up there is going to end up here. And if we can catch a lot of that in that silt and it doesn't make it into the actual main body of the pond, in theory, it'll help extend the life of the pond. I hope. So, I was headed back to the buggy and I noticed something. Just to give you a little reference of actually how deep they've been digging back there. Look at the back of this excavator. Now, I don't know if you guys really realize how tall this excavator is. I'll stand next to it and show you, but there's mud 7-8 feet high up on the back of this excavator. Check this out. Okay, I'm standing right next to the excavator. I'm 6'3", and there's mud line almost just as high as I can reach, probably close to 8 feet. So they've been putting this excavator through its paces. This thing has been working its little tail off, and I appreciate that. So there you have it. I guess you're up to date on the pond build and everything that's going on. It's definitely a slow process to see some changes, but it's progress, and I'm excited about it. Are you excited about it, Kelsey? Okay, she gone. Come here. Are you excited? Are you going to swim in the pond when it's done, Kelsey? Huh? I think you're excited. Yeah, I do. I think you're excited. Anyways, I don't know if we will be swimming in the pond when it's done, but I know Kelsey will. And got a good start on some habitat and trying to get things lined up, trying to have everything ready so that when I can start getting it in the pond, in this crazy looking hole in the ground, we can do it all quickly and beat the rain, the floods, the filling of the pond. You hope and you dream that your pond will fill up, period. And you hope it'll fill up quickly. I feel pretty confident that the pond's going to fill up. And I feel pretty confident that it can fill up quickly if we get the right rains. I just don't want it to fill up too fast. So I'm trying to plan ahead. And probably going to get put on hold for a few days on the pond project because there's this crazy Arctic blast, Canadian, northern, it's going to, none of us are going to survive. We're all going to just freeze to death over the next few days. So I've got to focus on getting the livestock ready for it, get barns ready, get waters ready, get us prepared, make sure we have plenty of firewood and all those things. And winter sounds like it's on its way finally. It is. Today is New Year's Eve, by the way. Hope you guys had a happy New Year's Eve. Welcome to 2025. Because by the time you see this, it'll be 2025. But winter has not hit Oklahoma yet. And it's looking like early January is going to be some severe cold. And not that we can't work in the cold, but once it gets a certain temperature, there's just only so much you can do. So luckily they have cabs on these machines, but you get down in single digit temperatures, things break easily in the cold. So I don't know what we'll do, but it will help freeze up a lot of this water, and the mud will freeze, and maybe they can get some of that crud out of there and it not be soupy. I don't know. It's my first go around cleaning out a pond, but we'll see. So anyways, remember guys, do something today to make somebody smile, because you never know. It just might change the world. So guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a great day. And as always, we'll see you on the next video.